Hi, everybody. It's Kristi Gustafson Barlette from the Times Union and timesunion.com. And welcome to 20 Things Plus on Times Union Live, where each week we catch up with somebody who we previously featured on 20 Things You Don't Know About Me. Today, we are joined by former Congressman John Sweeney, which I think we're bringing up in a second. So John, I'll tell you a little bit about John before we get to see him. So John served 4 terms in the United States Congress, where he was on the House Appropriations Committee. And in 2004, he was also ranked the 54th most powerful member in Congress. And the thing I liked the most, little detail that I liked, was I think it was George W. Bush named him Congressman Kick-Ass, if I have that nickname correct. So hi, John, welcome.
How are you, Kristi?
And am I right? Do I have that right? It was Congressman Kick-Ass, right?
It sure was. He changed it at one point, you know.
To what?
Well, so the long story was I was disagreeing with him on something, and he called me up and told me that he was changing my name from Congressman Kick-Ass to Congressman Pain in the Ass.
I like it. I like it a lot. I always love little tidbits like that, especially when it comes to U.S. presidents. So we're going to talk a little bit about today. We're going to update on 2 of your original 20 things, and then you'll share 3 new with us. So let's start with the first one that's about your family. Tell us about this.
Well, I'm blessed with 5 beautiful children. I like to joke that I have generations of children. I have a 36-year-old, a 35-year-old, a 28-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old, soon to be 8-year-old. And right now in the house, as we do this, I have my 9-year-old and 2 of her best girlfriends running through like crazy, and my 7-year-old out on the swings in the backyard, and my 35-year-old son just showed up and wanted me to look over something business related for him. So it's a good active life. My kids, I think I said it in my first 20, they've become my best friends. I know you're not supposed to say that kind of thing, but my older children in particular, we talk daily. My oldest daughter lives in Brooklyn now, moving to Connecticut. And, if we don't see each other, we talk on the phone, and they are particularly protective of me these days, especially since the quarantining and the isolation began with the COVID lockdowns. I think in part, there's probably 2 reasons for that, but in part because they know I'm ADD and I have trouble sitting still. So my son, who lives in Philadelphia, has been regularly coming home to sit on me, and sometimes not so figuratively, literally. And my 2 older daughters have been really checking up on me a lot, which is nice.
You're saying that your one older daughter is a lawyer, right? So you 2, and you're a lawyer, so you 2 like to debate, right?
Yeah, she's an attorney, so here's a little known fact. She's a registered Democrat. Yeah, right. So she's been combative since birth. She's a litigator, and she's very smart, and takes after her mom. And she and I have some pretty heated conversations, to the point that I've actually said to her more times than once, hey, her name is Kelly. Kelly, I'm not going to debate stuff with you anymore, because politics and religion are off limits when we want to be civil with each other. So that's the way we are. But she's great.
But before we go on to the next one, I want to say, though, the topic of this one is that your children are your best friends. So it shows you that you can be best friends with somebody who may have different political views than you do. So that's really nice to hear, too.
That's true. And I failed to mention, Kelly had a baby a year and a half ago. So I'm a grand.
You're not saying that yet?
Spoiler alert! Oh shit!
Wait, that's a spoiler alert. Keep that in your head. Okay, we'll get to it. Now let's go to number 2.
Oh boy, look at
that guy.
Tell me
about this one with the baseball game, because I know this is related to the lockdown as well. You have a little update with that.
Yeah, so during the lockdown, I think most people, or many people, have been sort of obsessive about watching series, Netflix, HBO, Showtime, all of those, and old sporting events. And one of the old sporting events that I particularly watched, it was painful, but I watched it, was the 2004 Boston Red Sox comeback against my New York Yankees. And the story that goes behind that is I never saw those the collapse of the Yankees. I saw the Yankees when they were up 3-0. And then I was at Andrews Air Force Base with a group of people who were headed over to Baghdad and to Iraq to visit the troops and talk to the folks over there. And we got on the plane as the game was going to the 9th inning, and the Yankees had the lead. And Mariano Rivera, the greatest reliever in the history of baseball, the Hall of Famer, was coming into the game to close it down. And when you flew in country, you were often subjected to blackouts in terms of communication because they didn't want the bad guys to know where you were. And we were in a blackout for I think it was 4 days. And because we were going to places that were highly of concern. And I called home to say, hey, the Yankees are going to the World Series. Let's get tickets. And I got told that that wasn't. Yeah. And I thought, well, why? We can't get tickets. They sold out. And it was, no, they collapsed. So I sat in here, my home, and painfully went through games 4 through 7, where the Red Sox came back and won. And it was just as painful this time as it would have been then, I think.
And it brought back a lot of memories, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go on and you're going to share 3 new things about yourself, things that people may not know, although you kind of already spilled the beans on one, but we're not getting to that yet. So let's start with number 1 on your new things.
Yeah.
This is about some medical treatment, right?
Yeah. So I got, when you called me and said you wanted to do the update on the 20 things, my first reaction was, I've been in lockdown for a number of weeks, and there isn't a lot happening here, right? And then I thought about it, and it's kind of funny how the mind works. But I got diagnosed last year with stage 4 prostate cancer, and it's prostate bladder cancer. And the reason it's stage 4, and my oncologist tells me that the stages aren't that important anymore, is because it metastasized. So I had it in some outer organs and my lymph nodes. And since that time, I've been undergoing treatment, of course, and had surgery in November, and which was pretty impressive, actually. They actually have a robot do it. They put you on a table and flip you upside down. And the last thing I remember going into surgery was, and the drugs were really good, I have to say.
We're not touching that topic today, John. We're staying away from the drugs.
As they brought me into the operating room, the room was packed full of people who were all technicians going to work on me, and so far so good. Everything is going well. I had a checkup last week, a teleconference checkup, and they said my blood work looked good. They can't tell me I'm cancer free for a while, but they think they're good. They had me on hormones. So my joke is, I don't know how much of a joke it is, but I know now, or at least I can relate better to women and the challenges they have to go through, because they had me on estrogen, and I bloated, and I was subject to some mood swings. I watched a lot of Lifetime TV.
And did you cry?
I did. It was funny. We were watching a movie, and there was just a scene, and I don't even remember the movie, but there was a scene that was not necessarily an essential part of the movie. Someone passed away in the movie, and I noticed that my eyes were tearing up. And I'm just.
Look at you getting all sympathetic as you mature.
My dad was a World War II guy, and real men didn't cry. So it's always been an issue. But what?
Funny, real men can cry.
Yeah, I'm old enough now that it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter anymore. All right, now let's go on to number 2. And I know this is loosely related to the cancer because it was a recommendation from your doctor, right?
Yeah. So, and especially during the lockdown, this has been kind of important. I'm a member of the Clifton Park Y, and was working out fairly regularly when I could. The other side effect was that my testosterone level was cratered. It was at zero. So getting the energy up was a challenge. But my doctor suggested I start to walk. So I am up to 3 to 5 miles a day of walking / a little bit of jogging in between. And it's about 45 minutes of really mind clearing stuff. And I like it a lot. I think I'm going to be doing it more. That and riding. I want to ride a bike. I want to get my bike fixed now that they're going to open up the bike shops. I want to get out there and do that with my little guys, especially. But yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I have 2 questions related to your walk. Do you wear a smartwatch so that you kind of know calories burned, how your heart rate's doing, or is it just kind of like it's just freewheeling on your walk?
I'm so bad technologically. You know what I did, Kristi?
I learned that while working on this with you.
I drove my car first around my development, my neighbor, until I got to the point where I knew where 3 miles were and where 5 miles were. And that's bad, isn't it? That's like longhand.
That is the way we used to do it. That's how we used to figure out mileage. And
I am old.
You walk, do you listen to music, or what do you do to kind of?
Yeah, got my earbuds in and I'm listening to my playlist, and I like it a lot. And it clears my head, and I love the music.
I remember in your original 20 things, you had said you met Bono at one point. So is there any U2 on that playlist when you're taking a walk?
Yeah, there's a lot, although my tastes are really change a lot. I listen to everything, and I'm very much influenced by my children. So my one daughter, Mary, is into country music, and I never was. And now I've started to listen to a little bit of that. My older daughter, Kelly, the radical in the family, is into metal. And I'm trying to get into that. And then my younger kids are all into pop music and other things. And so they keep me up to speed on that kind of stuff. But it's very eclectic. I listen to a lot of stuff. And it does remind me when I'm walking of my kids. So. Very
cool. Well, now your third one, which you already spilled the beans on, even though I said, let's not talk about this in advance, but I know this is probably your proudest thing. So I understand that you brought it up already. So tell us a little bit about this.
That's my little Catherine. My daughter, Kelly, had a baby girl, and she's just beautiful. We don't see her enough because they live in Brooklyn. They're moving, the process of moving to Connecticut, but we FaceTime a lot. So thank God for the iPhone. And she's a year and a half now. Every day is different. And I told my daughter Kelly this before she had children. Kelly was the radical who was never going to have children. And now she's so much in love with her baby that she wants to have another one, which is kind of great as a father to hear. And I told her that my definition of heaven was 6 months to 2 years in a child's life, because they're totally dependent on you. They're full of joy and they're changing. They get to 2 years, they learn no. And so that's an insight with a girl at the age of 14, I think. That's how they're going to be at 14. And at 3, they learn how to act on no. And I lost you there. That was one of my kids.
That was proof that you're not very tech savvy. You just went from telling me that you handle FaceTime with your granddaughter to dropping the camera entirely, but that's okay.
There you go. But yeah, I told her 3, they learn how to act on no, and then it's over. You're really in trouble going forward. That they run you, not the other way around. So
one question about your granddaughter. You said she's at 18 months now, right? So what is the thing that she learned to do most recently? Like, what's her latest thing?
Her speaking is amazing. She's learned, we FaceTime. She's learned how to hold the phone. She's learned how to look into the phone, and just the word development from day to day is pretty spectacular.
And so, I'm guessing she's not calling you like Kick-Ass Grandpa. So or Grandpa Kick-Ass. So what is your name? What is she going to be calling you?
It's Pa, right?
Perfect. I love it. Okay, so now what we do at the end of each 20 things plus is we preview who will be 20 things you don't know about me on Monday. We have 3 clues. It's very hard. Last week's guest almost got it, but other than that, no one's ever gotten it. So don't feel bad if you can't get it, but we're going to give it a try, okay?
All right.
All right. And just coincidentally, it's somebody in politics the way this worked out. So he is the youngest African-American elected to the Albany Common Council.
Albany Common Council. I live in Clifton Park.
No, you
Uh,
do.
And it can't be Corey Ellis because he's not the youngest.
No, it's not correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I should say too that when people guess, and I also should have said this earlier, they could have asked us questions too. And I apologize, I didn't tell everybody that sooner. On the Times Union's Facebook, the Times Union's YouTube, and the Times Union's Twitter. They can also guess who next week's 20 things would be by tweeting at Times Union or tweeting at Just Kristi or commenting on the Times Union's Facebook page. So the next one is I speak 3 languages.
Wow. English,
So let me tell you, I practiced the second language all night last night watching video, and I think the way you're supposed to say it is try. It's like there's almost a ch sound in there. I watched YouTube videos, I read pronunciations, but it's English, try, and Brooklynese. And if it's not right, I'm sure somebody will tell me I mispronounced it, but I practiced tried.
Yeah.
So, and I read all about that language too. Okay, and the last one is I was the head football coach at Albany High School's modified team.
Oh.
See, you're a football guy, so this.
Yeah, is that Jamil Robinson?
No.
No. Huh.
But those are 3 pretty. His is great. We'll have it on Monday on timesunion.com, so you'll see then who it might be. And like I said, if anybody wants to guess, they can tweet me at Just Kristi or tweet at Times Union. And John, thank you so much. This was really fun and really interesting. And none of your kids burst into the room, so I consider that a success, that we did well here.
I shut the door and locked it.
Oh, you did.
It told the little ones that they weren't going to be able to play with their friends if they came in.
You know what? Threats is a necessity in parenting. It's
great parenting skill. I'm going to teach my
and parenting. Bribery and threats. It's the only way that we survive each day.
That's
true. Thank you, John. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kristi. Good to be with you.